So like when I was a fitness coach, I was doing like 20K a month, right? And when I implemented the VSL, it took me to like 50K a month.
The first thing about the VSL, it's broken down into 12 parts. So the first part of the VSL is your offer statement. So essentially what the VSL is like the video presentation of your offer.
To give you an example, mine was
When I said like the dad example too, like how, I help dads lose 30, like that would be your like offer statement. My VSL was how to lose 10% of your body weight in 180 days or less. The offer was how to lose 10% of your body weight in 180 days or less without spending more than 4 hours a week in the gym, and how you can like keep it off, without gaining the fat back. Essentially, that was like my offer. Now, number 2, proof and credibility. So essentially what this is like, a section on showing who you are, really more so like your, not even getting into that yet, more so like your specific client results that you've gotten for other people. So what this tends to be, this VSL, by the way, I should have specified, this is like in a case study form. So it's almost like you do a case study on yourself or your best client. The actual setup of this video, like I said, I'm listing it out, is like I said, the targeted offer statement. You use like your main proof and credibility. So like, again, how to lose 10% of your body weight in 180 days, proof and credibility. Like these are the clients that I've worked with, right? You have a very clear who this is for, who it's not for. And essentially these are all like, each part is like a section of the VSL. This part is called the rehook, which is essentially like the whole entire purpose too of the VSL is to essentially like establish a place of specificity to your offer, which means like it has to be more than a workout program and a nutrition program. Like, and that's why we want to be specific. And when I say specific, it's like you will actually like coin your own method of training. So like mine was the rebound method, right? I have the organic funnel ecosystem, right? That's like for my elite clients. You end up, you kind of coin your own term, and that's the umbrella like phrase that all of your principles are held under, right? So like that is what, does help the product sell when it has like again, the specific offer statement and all that. Number 6 is you give like your story background. So guys, this is like an hour and a half long YouTube video. Like it could be very, very long. Connecting the dots just means that you're doing like your principle breakdown. In the rebound method, essentially my method was not anything fucking new by any means. My method was like, okay, I would take my guys and like, if they were overweight, I would get them really, really lean. And then I would essentially have like not that I would focus on muscle building, but it wouldn't be my primary focus. I would just get my guys super, super lean. And then we would do what's called the rebound method, where we would slowly add calories back. Again, this is something that bodybuilders have been doing for years post-show. Slowly add calories back, and there was this like phenomena called the rebound effect, right? So like I took that and I applied that to like the everyday average Joe. And basically my system was just like any other fitness program: nutrition, training, and accountability. But within those aspects, I had like my own principles, right? So I would say like, hey, we don't train fucking 2 hours a day. We train 45 minutes, and it's extremely high intensity, right? And we use a lot of like the methods that that I taught them. Like we start with like the compound movements, and we work into the more of like the accessory movements, basic stuff. That was basic for us, but not basic for the everyday average Joe. And then we would utilize things like fasting and like implement like the cheat meals when it made sense, and like high protein and like not completely removing carbs. And then accountability, right? Like I had like a system where I would say like, whereas most coaches, check in with their clients, once a week, we have daily mandatory critical task list, right? So like they have to do certain things. And by the way, I didn't mention this before, which is it's pretty important to note. In the offer statement, The reason that we want to make the offer the way that it is, like to a specific person, to the exact dream goal, removing the pain, and then also another thing which I admittedly forgot to add was a guarantee. So you're basically saying, I'm gonna go to this specific person, right? So they feel like they're like, wow, this is for me, with the exact blueprint to get to their dream goal, yay, right? Removing their biggest pain points and friction that they would experience in that process, and then giving them an exact time frame of when it's supposed to happen, right? So they're like, oh fuck, while also adding in a guarantee. And this is essentially the concept of a Grand Slam offer. Everything I just mentioned, all of that, plus a guarantee, it's an offer so good, it's like almost impossible to say. It's hard to even say no. Get what I'm saying? And that's the positioning is so important. Because if the positioning of the offer isn't there, then it's like putting gas in a car that has a hole in the gas tank. You're just putting, I keep losing gas. And then you're like, fuck, I have a hole in my gas tank. So no matter what, I keep putting this gas in, it's gonna leak out. It's gonna leak out. The offer is to ensure that every other aspect of the business is like, no pun intended, on steroids. You get what I'm saying? Because you want it to be optimized. Going back to the connecting the dots, this is, by the way, one of the most profound things that you guys will understand about coaching, and anyone who's been coaching longer than a year knows this. We can't, whereas we want to, right, in a perfect world, coaching people to get them to buy doesn't get them to buy. And here's kind of the thing, right? We're giving value in our content. You actually, believe it or not, you don't have to hold anything back. People literally can't, like you can't coach someone in the DMs. Like we know that. Like, so if you have a program that gets someone results and then you're trying to coach them in the DMs, like saying like, well, hey, you should do this. And well, I'm just trying to be nice and give them tips. And it doesn't actually get them to buy. The reason I'm saying that is because, like I said, the information is not what gets them to close. It's the influence with the information. It's like, okay, I'm actually gonna finally fucking do something about this. Connecting the dots, especially like within the whole VSL, like it's actually crazy to think about because technically, like my fitness clients, they could watch that VSL and get the results. Like it's possible, right? So it's like you're giving away so much value, right? So you're probably thinking like, oh fuck, give them a little bit, right? Is that marketing? You just give them a little bit and then you give them the whole thing on the back end? It's like, no, that's not marketing. You give them everything. You give them everything deliberately. Why? Because we know, and this is why this works in this day and age. There's so much fucking information going out at such a rapid rate that no one can handle it. There's too much information now. It used to be like there wasn't enough. Now there's too much of it. And now this is where guys like us can succeed because the reason why people aren't making progress, one of the biggest reasons nowadays is because they're not focused. They're being consistently pulled in multiple different fucking directions. So this actually plays into why people end up buying. I'll explain why. When people watch this VSL and they actually realize like all the fucking shit that they're gonna have to do to get in shape because you're fucking telling them, they're like, there's no way I'm gonna try this on my own. It would make way more sense to give Brandon $3,000 than to try to figure this out on my own. Now, if you're an 18-year-old kid that works 2 hours a week at the fucking fair, then yes, YouTube's gonna be your best bet. That's why we have YouTube, right? Again, I was in YouTube University before I fucking hired my first coach. Then when I hired my first coach, my business fucking doubled every month for like a year. And that was only because I utilized the resources when I had them. So anyway, the reason I'm saying this is because people get so overloaded by information that they want to work with you even more. So it's not like they feel like, oh, they run off with your shit and they're like, gotcha. You know what I mean? Like you're like, oh, I shouldn't have made the VSL. It's like, no, chances of that happening are so slim to none. So we actually do want to go and like, we almost want to give them too much. Like we would want it to be like, dude, I had to skip through this shit because I was like, this is just too much, man. Anyway, the next part of the VSL is the tie downs. What this is basically just showing results, clients. You're restating who it's for. And then what you do is you make your offer, and it's always like, book a call. This is the VSL breakdown. And because now if you think about it, right? Like think about how, trying to sell this without this. Why do that to yourself? You know what I mean? Don't do that. It's just gonna be harder. This VSL, like I'm always adamant about like telling my setter and my closer even, I'm like, hey, like you have to make sure that people that are booking calls are watching this video. Like my closer won't take calls with people if they don't watch this. They're not spending time on my YouTube. They're like, we're like, who are you? We don't know you. You don't qualify for us, right? It's not like, oh, let's go get another client. It's like, no, we already have the people that are there. You know what I mean? It's not about pushing them to the YouTube channel. You're just using YouTube as the platform for hosting it. How it should look is like, you have the VSL, right? That kind of like, it's almost like this, just like, it's just this fucking like, that's a crown, right? It's this king sales asset. You push VSL to DM, and then like, there's gonna be times where Reels, I'm gonna put Reels and stories, where you get people to this point, but they just don't qualify. It ends up being like this. VSL, back to DM, back to YouTube, back to Instagram, until they're fucking ready. Get what I'm saying? That's why on Instagram stories, you guys see me, any chance I get, I'm like, I will push people to my YouTube. Think about it. If there's someone that's like at the 6-hour mark on the 9th touch point, what do you know what a one more YouTube video would do for them? It puts $7,000 fucking dollars in my Stripe payment processor. That's what it does. Do you get what I'm saying? If I'm like, 47 people are only 47 people are watching this. I'm not gonna make a selfie video because the reason that this is bad is because the opposite is only doing it when you need leads. I always have leads. I don't make content when I need leads. There's just leads because the content's already there. Like the system makes the leads. It's not like I'm like, oh fucking let me make a story and like get some, you know, bring some. It's like the system already will ensure that happens. You know what I mean? That's why there's days where I could make no Instagram stories or not post and still get leads because those people are there. Do you get what I'm saying? They're getting closer to wanting to buy the shit. It can be tough, but basically, you know, what we do is like, we're up their asses about it. Like we don't, like you tell us you watch it once, like we just don't believe you. So like I have my setter like check with them 15 times before like, not 15, 3. So like for example, the follow-up, the pre-call follow-up, which is, by the way guys, in your calendar, you guys have like when I tell you guys to set up your calendar, you have automated reminders to get those people like to the calls, like, hey, you have a call at this time. What I actually will do is my setters will message the people that are on calls for that day, and they'll be like, the pre-call follow-up, like build-up is like, did you watch the YouTube video? Did you watch the YouTube video? Hey, just checking, did you watch the YouTube, right? Usually once they say that they have, and by that point, it is someone that is gonna take time to watch the video because based off of the conversation, which is probably what we should get into in a second, is that's more so how you qualify them. So like, for example, the most unqualified individual could watch the VSL and the most qualified individual could watch the VSL. The difference is more so the DM conversation. You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm like, if they're like, yeah, I watch all your YouTube, and I'm like, great. You know, you're just not, you ain't that, buddy. You know, you're just not my ICP. I want to help you, but I got to send you to one of the Walmart trainers, you know? Respectfully. No, I'm just kidding. But I do want to talk about, does anybody have any more questions about that specifically? All right, I'm going to talk about DMs.